More answers, presented by Mazda BT-50. More is more.
Hello there, welcome along to our weekly look at what's making news in the AFL. Sam Kekovich, Russell Barwick, and Sam, I've heard a bit of a whisper that the AFL have been asked to start their season earlier to combat the start of rugby league, particularly in Sydney, and with the GWS boys not getting any access to their ground prior to the Easter show. They're losing some traction against rugby league. Do you think it's a wise move?
Well, it is a wise move because you know how sensitive they are to their particular territory.
Yeah.
They don't want to give any of the opposition any head start.
They're not lengthening the season. They're basically just saying
stretching the first round over a 2-3 week period.
Yeah, the first two rounds will be stretched over 4 weeks. Do you like that?
No, I don't. I don't as a consumer or a supporter of the club, but I can understand their strategy in terms of trying to negate the dominance of the other codes.
Why don't they just add 2 weeks to the season, though?
Well, you think it would make sense, but scheduling's an issue.
Well, scheduling is an issue, that's for sure. But who has been, in your opinion, the coach of the year so far? And I know there's a few contenders.
Port Adelaide, I'd go to Port Adelaide, would you not?
And Kenny Hinkley?
Kenny Hinkley's been outstanding. But, you know, I'm not surprised because I've known Ken Hinkley for some time. I've worked with Ken in the commentary box. I know the way he thinks, very lateral. Comes as no surprise. He's been...
Rossi Lyon doesn't get your vote?
Oh, Rossi Lyon's always up there. Rossi Lyon, we've acknowledged as a great coach for some time.
Yeah?
You know, Rossi Lyon did miracles at St Kilda. He's a genuinely proven coach. I'm talking about an unheralded, not an unheralded, but an proven coach.
But he had the five and zip start of the year.
And when you consider where they came from...
Absolutely. Well, outside of Mark Neal, then, if we have a look at the good coach, you've got to have a look at the bad. Outside of the Mark Neal, who has been the coach that has disappointed you the most? I mean, you've got Brad Scott, you've got Michael Voss, you've got one or two others that are... I would think that John Worsfold was probably the most disappointing, or Adelaide, Sanderson.
Well, you've got to look at it all in relative terms. I mean,
Adelaide were 1 kick away from a grand final.
I know, 1 kick away.
Now they mightn't even make the 8.
Yeah, and they got injuries. So you've got to say, in cold, blatant figures, and at the end of the day, it's the figures and the board tells you the story. So from that point of view, you'd say Brenton Sanderson fills the bill.
I'd say Worsfold.
Oh, well, Worsfold, but he's had a stack of injuries, Worsfold.
Yeah,
God, half his side, he's been lucky to have his half a side in the park.
Okay.
But he's getting a few players back now.
Okay, and on that, in terms of someone like Sanderson, you know, second-year blues, is that what you put it down to?
Well, you know, we always talk about racing parlance, and I don't want to use that as the analogy, but second up was always an issue we never ever bet. You wouldn't.
Okay.
You always warned me about being second up. So
okay,
it could be second-year jitters.
That is the news making, or that's what's making news in the AFL. We'll catch you again next week. Thanks to the Mazda BT-50. I'm Russell Barwick, he's Sam Kekovich, and he was, as you always say...
You know, it makes sense.
Correct.